The recent increase in hate crimes against Asian Americans has led to a surge in creative response partnered with community activism. One example of that is the Stop Asian Hate event on May 22nd in Copley Square. To tell us what's planned is one of the main organizers, a singer, songwriter, producer, and dancer from Berklee College of Music, as well as an advocate for the LGBTQ and Asian community. We'd like to welcome Jimmy Chen, also known by his performing name as The Kicks. Thank you very much for being with us, Jimmy.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for having me. I would really love to share with you the great event on May 22nd for Stop Asian Hate.
Jimmy, you know, when you came here to study music and performance at Berklee College of Music a few years ago, you never probably thought you'd be heading toward graduation with an event like this. What has happened in the interim to you?
So yes, pandemic is unexpected for every single person living on Earth. So you know, in my school, every senior by tradition host a recital to kind of showcase what they learned in this 4 grueling years of study. Unfortunately, pandemic shut down all the performances, and I feel very, very, very unfulfilled leaving school, not having a showcase. Also, I released an album, and not being able to perform my music is very weird for a performer. So I was like, okay, you know what? I'm just gonna busk on the street, and I will just in the corner of Newbury Street, and I would just kind of sing a few songs that I released last year. But then, as we know, the Asian hate crimes rose drastically, and then it became really clear that, you know, as a performer, I really need to make my voice heard. So I started to, you know, ask people for some small help, and then, you know, out of my surprise, people are so generous. Small businesses donated, you know, their printing machines, and dance studios provided their dance rehearsal spaces. People are like, you know what, I'll film your, you know, event for free. And, you know, now, and I also contacted universities, Harvard, Tufts Medical School. Everybody was like, yes, we will help you promote this event, and including BNN. So now it's becoming this huge thing. And I'm so excited for everybody to come, because it's gonna be so much fun. It's gonna be celebrating summer. And also this event is really remembering what America really is about, remembering our trauma and also remembering our resiliency. And pandemic has put a refresh button on everybody. So now let's come together and write a new chapter about of what America is really about.
Well, I look at your music, and I've seen a couple of the samples, like let's say "Just Call Me." This is pop culture. It's sort of eclectic. It reminds me a little bit of when you're on track to be the next Bruno Mars, maybe. But at the same time, this is also about not being invisible anymore. Explain how that drives you.
Yes, so racism against Asian Americans is very different compared to racism against, let's say, Black American. Asian Americans, most times we feel invisible in this country, and partly it's because we are a very, very small percentage compared to other ethnicity. But also, we are not represented in pop culture, in media. Although recently we have seen more and more Asian talents on TV. However, most of us feel like we don't have a voice. In fact, when the Asian hate crime started to appear as an Asian American, even though I feel like I feel injustice. However, I don't even know where to begin to voice my anger or voice my discontent. So we learn to stuff our feelings down. And this event is to reject all those silence. This event is for us, for me, myself, to stand up and say, you know what? I have a voice. I'm going to scream on top of my lungs for those people who dare to ignore my voice. And for people who want to hear my voice, well, you know what? I welcome you guys.
Well, of course, this is also different from the typical Asian cultural events that we've come to know in Boston going back. Oh, it takes place in Chinatown. This isn't Copley Square. This is an event for everybody.
Yes, this is an event. This is a pop culture event. This is a celebration of how Asian cultures in America is so intertwined. We're not separate. We are not this separate identity, and that's also another major feelings that Asian Americans feel. We feel like we are foreigners. We don't feel like we're part of this country. We don't feel like our cultures are, connected with the bigger culture. So this event, and the reason why it's in Copley Square is because, you know what, you don't have to go to Chinatown to experience Asian culture. Asian cultures are everywhere. And because it is an ancient culture that has literally become the subconscious of, our thinking.
I want to ask you about some of the other performers, because you have people, at least who by background represent cultures from, Japan, India, and other places, and they're doing other kinds of things. So can you tell us what you've got planned with that?
So we have an Indian vocalist, Anushka, and she's gonna, deliver a really beautiful Indian traditional song. Also, she's going to perform an original song of her. It's gonna be a pop song. We also have a Chinese poet giving us a declaration, declaring the new definition of what it means to be an American. We also have a Black comedian to give us a little bit of some racial humor. And the reason why, we have all this kind of diverse background is because this event is not only about Asian Americans, but this event is really also about the discrimination against any minority is the discrimination against all people. To deny any ethnic minority is to deny the right to call yourself an American, because the minorities truly built this country up. Even the white people who believe that they're the majority of of this country came to this country as a minority. So, this event is truly a melting pot of everybody.
I'll ask you about one other element that I'm sure has shaped you creatively and socially. You've been an LGBTQ advocate, and you've worked on the helpline at Fenway Health. What have you gotten from that experience?
So, well, first of all, if anybody are interested in volunteering, Fenway Health has this amazing opportunity for people to volunteer as a helpline caller. So we will receive phone calls from people who maybe need somebody to talk to, or who would like to learn a little bit more resources. The biggest lesson that I learned is the ability to listen, and not only listen as in like, okay, let me get information out of you, but truly listen to get the story, to understand that, to interpret the story from another person. And that really is also the amazing thing about being an American, because we are a melting pot of different ethnicity, different sexual orientation. We as an American, we really, really need to showcase to the world that we possess the skill, that we are able to hear and not react to what people's different opinions and sexual orientations.
Finally, Jeremy, I want to ask you about the event itself, exactly when this is going to be happening on the 22nd, and I guess what it's going to be like when people come there.
So it's going to be May 22nd, 3 p.m. at Copley Square. And if you would like to learn more, please go to thekicks.net/stopasianhate, and we will provide the information, right? And so on the day of the event, please come to Copley Square. At the same time, there will be a very, very fun local farmers market. So please come a little early, come check out the farmers market. And then at 3 o'clock, we're gonna start right on the dot. We would like everybody to, gather Of course, practice whatever cautionary things that you need to do to protect yourself from catching COVID-19. We would really, really like to encourage everybody to bring cash, or we also have Venmo payments method, because this is a fundraiser and all the proceeds will go to Asian American Writers Workshop, Asian American Arts Alliance, and Asian American Giving Circle. So all the money will go support AAPI organizations to strengthen our voice and to make all the Asian Americans and allies understand that we are so much bigger than what we believe to be.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you so much for having me, Chris.
That was Jimmy Chen, or The Kicks, and we'll have more news in just a moment.